Hello there, my name is Richard McMunn from the management training website managementskillsmasterclass.com, and in this tutorial I'm going to give you my top 7 management skills that will help you to be a highly effective manager. So if you are either an experienced manager or somebody who is just starting out on your managerial career, please make sure you stay tuned, watch this tutorial fully from beginning to end, because this is what I will cover. I'm going to give you my top 7 management skills that you need to learn to be a great manager. I will give you simple to follow tips for managing any type of situation or team effectively. I will also explain how you can quickly overcome difficult management situations, and I will also tell you about further resources you can get access to help you become a brilliant manager. So 4 reasons why you should stay tuned and watch this tutorial fully from beginning to end. Now, just very quickly, before I get in to this management skills masterclass training tutorial, a very warm welcome from me. My name is Richard McMunn, and I'm going to help you to be a great manager. And the 7 tips that I will work through have helped me throughout my 25-year plus career as a manager to be highly effective in all situations. Just a little bit about myself. I spent 17 years as a fire officer, 15 of which I was a manager. I have also spent 15 years as a company managing director. I also hold a diploma in management studies, and I'm very passionate about helping people to progress within their careers. On that basis, please make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking the red button below the video, and then you won't miss out on any of the training material that I am uploading. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I have put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. It's always great to connect with other managers and like-minded professionals. Please also make sure you give the video a like, because that tells me you enjoy the content, and I will therefore spend more time creating it for you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get into those top 7 management skills that you need to learn to be an effective manager. Now, they are all very important, and I will explain why they are important as I progress through each one. Now, the first one is all about setting high standards as a manager. So whenever you are a manager in any organization, or when managing a team of people, regardless of how big or small the organization or team is, make sure you set the bar high. So as managers, we have to learn to set high standards. Now, remember this. It is far easier to lower standards slightly if needed than to raise them up. So we want to be able to always set high standards, because your team will respect you more if you set high standards, and more importantly, the company owners or senior managers will look favorably upon you, and they will also then consider you for advancement later on if that's what you want to achieve. Now, how you set high standards. First and foremost, always follow company rules and policies, and be consistent in how you do that. Tip number 2, always be on time for everything and expect your team to do the same. For example, whenever I would chair a meeting, I would expect everybody to be at that meeting on time. That's just one example of setting high standards. You should always set high standards of customer service as well. And tip number 3, treat everyone as a manager fairly and consistently. So that's management skill number 1. Always aim to set high standards. It's very, very important. Management skill number 2. This is one of the most underutilized skills as managers, and that's praising your staff. Now, one of the easier things that we can do as managers is to simply say this: well done. That's a really good job you've completed there. Not many managers think that they should say to people, well done, when people carry out really good tasks to a high standard, because they think to themselves, well, that's your job. That's what you get paid to do. Now, I am not talking about saying well done to everybody for all the basic kind of tasks. For example, turning up to work, doing their daily tasks to a decent standard. But when you have a member of your team who does something of significance, or they carry out a job to a really good standard, say to them, I noticed what you did there. You've done really well. Thank you very much. Well done. So always praise your staff, because that goes a long way. and it will help to motivate them. And also, more importantly, they will feel valued and appreciated. So, praise when praise is due is very important. Management skill number 3. This is a brilliant one that, again, lots of managers fail to do when they are managing any kind of team or department. Find out your team's strengths. Now, whenever I started managing either a fire station or whenever I had a new member of staff join my business, I would always sit down with each team member and I would ask them the following 3 questions straight away. I would say this: what do you enjoy doing the most out of your work? What are you passionate about? Why would I ask that? Well, I would ask them that question because then if ever I'm considering delegating a task to somebody, I would think, well, Amanda likes doing that kind of work. If I give her that task, she will enjoy it, and therefore she is more likely to do it to a high standard and on time. I would say to them, what are you good at doing? Because when I'm allocating tasks to people, if I don't know that Stephen, for example, is good at doing something, I might not give him that task and I could give it to somebody else who isn't particularly good at doing it. And then also, number 3, I would say to them, what drives you? What motivates you? Now, there are different types of people within teams. There are some people who just want to come to work and do a good job and then go home at the end of the day. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. You need those type of people within your team. But there are also other people who want advancement. They want to do a good job. They want to develop within their career. They want to get trained up in certain areas, but they might not tell you that that's their passion or desire. But if you say to them, what drives you? Then if you know they want to develop and advance within the organization, that's powerful for you as a manager, because then you can utilize them, you can get them to shadow you when you're carrying out managerial tasks, and you can teach them what it's like to be a good manager, and you are therefore being responsible in your role because you are identifying talent, you are nurturing it, and you are bringing it up through the organization. Now, don't go anywhere because I still have 4 more important management skills tips that you don't want to miss. But when you're ready, if you want to click that link in the top right hand corner of the video, it takes you through to my website, managementskillsmasterclass.com, and you can get instant, unlimited lifetime access to my online management skills training course. There's over 30 modules in there with loads of downloadable templates that will help you to be a brilliant manager. But let's move on to the next management skill, which is number 4, and that is doing nothing. Now, you are probably sitting there thinking, Richard, what are you talking about? As a manager, I have to do things. I can't afford to do nothing. Well, as managers, we always feel we have to react and make decisions in the moment. Now, whenever a challenging situation arises in management, my advice is to ask yourself the following 2 questions. Number 1, do I have to make a decision right now? And as I said before, as managers, we feel we always have to react and make a decision right now. And the truth is we don't. Sometimes you will be better placed waiting before you make a decision. So I would say to myself, the second question, is there any benefit to me waiting here to see what happens? For example, you might be in a managerial situation where you are better off sleeping on it and waiting till the next day. Because I will say to myself, will waiting give me more information to help me make a better decision? And I learnt this in the fire service as a manager in my early career. I went in to my senior manager's office and I said, this situation has happened. This is what I want to do. What's your view on it? And he said, why don't you just do nothing? And I looked at him in bewilderment, but eventually it sunk in and I realized what he was saying to me. He was basically saying, why don't you just wait and see? You don't always have to make a decision as a manager right now. And waiting before you make decisions, if you have the facility to do so, it can be highly beneficial. So always say to yourself, whenever you feel you need to make a decision, is there any benefit to me waiting to see what happens, because I might get further information that will help me to make a better decision. Management skill number 5. Use team meetings wisely. Now, I've been in organizations before where I've sat there at a team meeting thinking to myself, what are we doing here? This is a waste of mine and everybody else's time. However, Team meetings can be highly effective if they are used effectively. Now, meetings can often be one of the most ineffective ways of using your time as a manager. The reason for that is because as managers, we feel that we have to hold team meetings all the time because that's what we should be doing. Well, that's not true. Now, before you hold any kind of meeting, ask yourself the following three questions. Number one, is there a specific need for this meeting? What do I want to get out of this meeting? Number two, who needs to attend the meeting? Only invite people to the meeting who need to be there. Because as you and I know, lots of people will send their apologies for meetings. And I always had the standard, and I would say to people at the start of meetings, I expect everybody to be here at the meeting and to also be on time. Very important, because a lot of people otherwise will just say, I can't be bothered attending, I will send my apologies. Well, what's the point in having the meeting then? We want everybody to attend. And number three, I would say, what are the specific goals of the meeting? Now, I would always set people action points during a meeting, and I would say, by the time you come to the next meeting, please make sure you've carried out this task. And when I started every meeting, I would say to them, okay, let's go around the meeting table and please update me on the progress you have made based on the action points you received at the end of the last meeting. And that means then that you are moving forward with your meeting and it gives you something to focus on. And also, in regard to meetings, make sure you hold them for as short a time as possible. Very, very important. Management skill number 6. My advice is to learn the SMART way of making effective decisions. So, as a manager, we have the pressure of making decisions within organizations periodically. We have to do it on a daily basis. Now, the following 5-step process can be used in all decisions that you make as a manager. And it's called the SMART decision making model. And it stands for specifics, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So, what do I mean by each of these? Take a note. Specifics. Ask yourself, what are we trying to achieve here with this decision? What is our end goal? So, write down the end goal of your decision. What do I want to get out of this? Measurable. How do we measure our performance during the particular project or task we need to undertake? Is it attainable? Do we have the skills required, the motivation to complete this task or project? Do we have the resources and the people to do it properly to a high standard? And do we have the desire to achieve our goal? Are we passionate about it? And is it relevant? Is our goal relevant to the long-term vision of the organization? And finally, my biggest thing is time. When do we need to finish the project or task by? Whenever I carry out any kind of project or task, whether it's me doing it myself or I get my team to do it, I always say it needs to be done by this date. Otherwise, it is only human nature that people let things drag on, and that's not in your favor as a manager. So learn to set high standards, as I said at the start, and always say to people, I want this task done by this time point, and get people to develop positive habits where they do things on time and they realize the importance of that specific time frame being set. Management skill number 6, build long-term relationships with everybody where possible. Now, of course, as a manager, you are going to encounter conflict at times. Of course, you will do. That's undoubted that will happen. However, where possible, always build long-term relationships, because as a manager, I strongly advise, based on my over 25 years experience as a manager, that you should always try to build a positive network around you of people you can ask for help whenever needed. And there is a common saying, be nice to people on the way up because you might need them on the way down. So who should you build positive relationships with? Well, first of all, the senior managers and the company owners. Get a reputation as being somebody who takes action, somebody who doesn't complain or moan, somebody who has a positive working attitude, and more importantly, somebody who will achieve the objectives of the organization. As a manager, it is your job to be on the side of the senior managers and the company owners, because they are paying you to do a job and help them achieve the company goals as a manager and a leader. You should also build positive relationships with the members of your team. And there's lots of different ways that you can achieve that. Number 3, build positive relationships with other internal departments. So when you contact them, if you are nice to them and you treat them well, they will treat you well. And if you need something doing quickly, they are more likely to do it for you. Number 4, external contractors, stakeholders, or suppliers. Now, of course, as a manager, you have to be firm with these people because you may need to negotiate. But where possible, build positive relationships with external contractors, stakeholders, and suppliers. And number 5, your competitors. And you might say to me, why do I want to build a positive relationship with my competitors? And I will say to you, why not? Because there is far more advantage to building positive relationships with your competitors than not building positive relationships. So 5 different peoples and different types of teams and departments where I recommend you work to build positive relationships where possible. Of course, there will be times when you can't do that, but where possible, always try to achieve it. Management skill number 7. This is a brilliant one. Carry out a periodic SWOT analysis. And again, you might be thinking, Richard, what is a SWOT analysis? Now, a SWOT analysis is a fast and efficient managerial tool that will help you as a manager make continual progress within the team or the organization. So, what does SWOT stand for? It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And you can use this whenever you either assess the performance of your team or where your team is right now. And you can also use it to assess a new product or a new service. You can also conduct a SWOT analysis of your competitors. So, questions to ask based on SWOT. So let's say you are carrying out a SWOT analysis of your team. What are your team's strengths? So what is my team or department good at doing? Write it down. What have we achieved over the last 3 months? Write it down. Which members of staff are the most productive? What do we enjoy doing the most? Then move on to the weaknesses. What is the team not particularly good at doing? Because then that allows you to identify areas of improvement. Maybe you would need to provide your team with some training that allows you to achieve your goals as a manager. Which areas have we failed in over the last 3 months? What has frustrated me as the manager about my team recently? And what action can you take to negate that frustration? Which individuals are weak and in which areas? How can I help them to improve? And this is why it's important to find out the strengths of each individual team member, because it allows you then to help them to improve. Opportunities is a brilliant one as part of a SWOT analysis. What opportunities are there for the team in the coming months? Where do we want to be in 3 months' time? What's your vision as a manager? What do we need to do to make the opportunities happen? And which members of staff are best placed to achieve our goals? And that's why it's important to sit down with your team members, find out what they're good at doing or what they enjoy, because then you know who to go to help you achieve your goals. And the threats is another good one. Are there any threats to the team or the business on the horizon? And this skill will enable you to think holistically as a manager, to think outside the box and to see what is happening or what could happen to your team or organization. Are we prepared for any threats that may occur? And what plans are in place to respond to those threats? Can we afford to ignore the threats because you might decide that the risk to the team or the organization is not that significant, so we don't need to worry about it? And also, what are our competitors doing? So that's a SWOT analysis. It's a great tool to use as a manager when you are either assessing the performance of your team, analyzing a product or service that you are launching, and also analyzing the performance of your competitors. Now, don't go anywhere because I quickly want to show you this page. So if you click that link in the top right-hand corner of the video, it takes you through to this brilliant online management skills masterclass course right here. So I have conducted an online training course. There's me, I talk about this, click the play button and you can watch loads about the course that I provide you with. You can get access to this course for just $27, unlimited lifetime access to it. I have put all of my 25 years experience as a manager within this online training course. You get loads of different modules. You get downloadable templates that you can use. Now you get a performance review self-assessment form template. So when you are sitting down with your team members, you can ask them those important questions. You will also get a performance review appraisal template. You will also get managing meetings template as well. This is the exact template that I use within my particular meetings to make sure they are effective. And I also give you 11 habits of highly successful managers. Make sure you watch that. So there's over 30 training modules, powerful training modules that will help you to be an effective manager. What I like about this course is you can tap into it anytime you want. So if you have to deal with conflict in a managerial situation, simply watch the video before you have to deal with a conflict, and I will help you to overcome those challenges. So click the link in the right hand corner of the video, the top right hand there, or go to the website managementskillsmasterclass.com and get access to that course. It's a brilliant investment for you as a manager. As I say, over 25 years experience, not just as a fire officer in a very difficult organization managing lots of different scenarios, but also as a company managing director. So get access to that course. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you want me to create a video for you, let me know the name of it in the comments section below the video. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining the CareerVids community here on YouTube, and I wish you all the best for being a highly effective, productive, and successful manager. Have a brilliant day.